Hayato had a dream where he sank to the bottom of a deep sea. He heard a voice calling him. He opened his eyes and saw two beautiful girls. They extended their hands to him, suggesting they would stop him from sinking further. Then he suddenly exclaims that they are pulling him down even more. Then he wakes up, scrambling in his bed at 10:30. He starts to get off the bed, muttering how horrible the dream was. He bids his mom and dad's picture a good morning. His name is Hayato Damoto. Due to certain events, he is currently a student who lives alone. He is responsible for all the chores in the house. It is not that he does not have relatives. He looks at his vibrating phone and sees the messages his friends sent him. It said that Hayato had yet to reply. He hopes Hayato didn't forget that they are going out today to buy things for the party. His friend mentions in another text that if Hayato is late, he is buying him lunch at school. He smiles, cursing at his friend. He also has his friends, and they get along well. He types back and asks if his friend is late, and if he is buying Hayato lunch. Another text bubble appeared that said, "Let the battle begin." Today he is going out to buy things for the Halloween party. He is really excited about it. Hayato reaches his destination, huffing and panting, where two boys are already waiting for him. One exclaims that he is so slow. Hayato tells him to shut up. He yells that he stopped to help a lost girl, a pregnant woman, and an old man. Sauda Miena rhetorically asks if he really helped that many and tells Hayato just to say sorry he is late next time. He says that he won this duel and can't wait for that lunch. Kaito Aojima is standing behind him, laughing as well. They step inside the Halloween store. Sauda says in wonder that they sell so many costumes. These are Hayato's best friends, and the three of them are having a Halloween party. Kaito points out that the girls' ones are a little revealing as he picks up a costume that is barely hiding anything. Hayato asks him if he could stop fooling around with girls' costumes and pick his own costume. Kaito turns to him and, in all seriousness, asks what if they invite some girls to the party. He suggests calling a few. He says they could invite the Shinju sisters, the ones in their class. Both of his other friends make a face at that. He imagines two girls in extremely revealing clothes. The Shinju sisters are the idols of their class. They are recognized as the most beautiful girls in the area. The Shinju sisters, now that he thinks about it, those girls in his dream looked a lot like them. Kaito tells Hayato that they live in his neighborhood and asks if he can ask them. Hayato tells him not to be crazy. He asks if he doesn't know that those two hate men. He says that according to rumors, the men who confessed to them were dealt with very harshly. One sister sneeringly asks the guy if he has ever seen himself in the mirror. She tells him to do her a favor and not talk to her again. The other sister condescendingly says that she is not remotely interested in love, then asks who he is again. Kaito exclaims that is scary, and those beauties say things like that. He says that it has to be a joke. Hayato says that he is telling him they will not come even if he asks them to. Besides, he states that there is nothing wrong with the party between three good friends. They step out of the store and bid each other goodbye after promising to see each other tomorrow. As soon as his friends are out of sight, he notices two girls walking into the store with their parents. The girl tells them to look at how many pumpkins there are. Their parents answer that it is because it is almost Halloween. He says that the faces are kind of scary, but he adds that the pumpkins are delicious. The girls say that he changed the topic. Then again, Hayato thinks that he heard that the father of those two died, and in that sense, they are similar. Well, it is not like having something in common changes anything. He notices that someone left their door open at this hour. He wonders how careless can one be. He checks whose house it is, and the nameplate says Shinju. He looks again at the intimidating entrance and gathers his courage. He thinks if they simply forgot to close it, then that is fine, but just in case, he will tell them directly. He takes a step inside the house. Suddenly, a loud yell scares him. A male voice shouts, exclaiming that they didn't have money. He quickly slants his hands on his mouth and lightly walks through the small hallway. He stops at the door and peeks inside. He sees the sisters almost in a naked state, with only their undergarments on. He sees the man with a knife holding their mother hostage, who has been gagged. He is grabbing her greedily. The girls look very uncomfortable as the man keeps staring at them. He grasps the terrible situation. He puts a hand in his pocket, thinking he would call the police, but realizes that he might use that knife before they get here. He clutches his head and slides down on the floor. He knows that they are a family of three without a father. He curses, wondering how this happened. He grasps that he has to do something quick. Earlier, the sisters were walking as they chatted that it is almost Halloween and everything is so exciting. The other sister says that it is a bit chaotic. The younger sister excitedly wonders out loud what's for dinner. Then she notices that the door is open and calls out to their mom, yelling that she left the door open. They walk inside as the youngest of the two continues telling their mom that she should be careful. He asks what if some bad guy came in. Then she spotted him. He had a knife in his hand with their mother bound and gagged on the floor beside him. He looks at them hungrily as the sisters shiver in fear. The man quickly grabs their mother and laughs, claiming that she has got daughters. He coldly says how unfortunate. He tells the sisters to put their phones on the ground immediately, or he will hurt this woman. Afraid of his threat, they drop their phones on the ground. But the man was not done yet. He tells them to take off their clothes. He can't have them hiding anything under there. He waves the knife near their mother as a warning. The oldest of the sisters tries to ask if she takes them off, will he let their mother go? He says that if she does what he tells her, then he will think about it. The oldest sister sheds off her jacket. As the youngest sister stares at her in tears and begins to undress, the clothes fall to the ground. The perverted man, accompanied by glee, continues to grope their mother, exclaiming that their mother is incredible, but the sisters are glaring at him. He exclaimed that because she had a good body, he assumed she ate well, so he followed her. However, instead of focusing on money, he couldn't believe that he was blessed with 3 such beautiful women. With tears in her eyes, the eldest sister seems to question whether they are going through this for such a trivial reason. Rope falls on the ground, and he tells the one with brown hair to tie up the one with dark hair. The mother through the gag squirms, trying to say something, but her captor yells at her to shut up and do what he tells her. He asks if they want him to kill her. The oldest holds out her hand to the youngest as she picks up the rope and ties her sister. While apologizing through tears, he throws their mother to the ground and corners the youngest sister. She screams as he gets on top of her and digs the knife right beside her head. He yells at her to shut up and says that he will take care of her later. She yells for him to get off of her as the oldest curses under her breath, glaring at the man. The oldest begs for someone to come and help them outside the room. Hayato is building his courage. He murmurs that if he has seen this much, he guesses he has no choice, but to help he pulls out a metal bat. He looks at the pumpkin in his hands and thinks that he should at least let be. In an attempt to buy some time until the police arrive, he bites his lips and says that he cannot let him do what he wants anymore. He puts the pumpkin on his head and prays to his parents for their strength. Hayato throws the ball in the air as the younger sister yells for the man to let her go. The man is still holding her in his arms. When he hears the ball bounce on the ground, he stops what he is doing and stops her from struggling. After he has finished with her, he makes his way over to the ball, picks it up, and continues to wonder where it came from. As soon as he emerges from behind the wall, Hayato strikes him on the head with the bat. As she looks at her savior, the older sister stops crying and looks at him. The man yells out, "That hurts," and then inquires as to who the other person is. As he lies on the ground and continues to ask the same question, he utters a curse. While he is still wearing his pumpkin mask, Hayato tells the man to be quiet and tells him that he has nothing to say to someone who is similar to him. One more time, he strikes the man on the chin. In spite of the fact that she is still bound, the mother yells for her 2 daughters, Aina and Arisa. In a moment of relief, the daughters embrace their mother and shed tears. The news that both of them are safe and sound brings their mother a sense of relief. Hayato believes that it appears as though he was able to avoid the most disastrous scenario. As the man rubs his chin, Hayato grabs his collar and warns him that he does not know whether this was a robbery, an attempted molestation, or something else entirely. But this is the end for him. As the man hears the sound of sirens in the vicinity of the house, he lets out a gasp. The individual is flipped over by Hayato, who then ties his hands behind his back and informs him that he will no longer be able to touch them. The man rants at him and tells him to stop what he's doing. According to Hayato, if he does not like it, he will use this instead, and he demonstrates to him the bat that he used earlier to hit the different individual. Immediately, the man expresses his regret. On the other hand, the mother reassures her daughters that everything is fine now, and she attributes this good fortune to the individual who is wearing the pumpkin mask. She inquires of Hayato whether he would be willing to come and assist them. It is then that he turns around and affirms, advising them to get dressed as soon as possible. The 2 sisters appear to be on the verge of crying as they look at him. At first, Hayato is perplexed as to why they have suddenly begun crying, but then he realizes that it is his mask that is causing them to cry. In an attempt to reassure them, he makes a clumsy attempt by saying that he guarantees he is not a suspicious individual. Because they must be feeling cold, he removes the cloth from the sofa and instructs them to take it with them. Taking the cloth and wrapping it around them, he mutters that this will have to do for the time being. After turning around, he becomes aware of the awkward situation he is in. However, at that precise moment, the sisters become aware of their father. When two men entered the house, they yelled that they were the police and inquired about the well-being of everyone inside. After taking a look around, they immediately focused their attention on Hayato. One officer believes that the person wearing the mask must be the criminal, while another officer points out that he appears to be very suspicious. Hayato tells him to wait for a moment, but he doesn't have to say anything else because the sisters come forward and say that this individual was the one who saved them. In a suspicious manner, the police officers tell him to remove the mask. At this point in time, he is attempting to explain that that is a bit challenging for him. Because this is the location where the crime was committed, he advises them to talk more outside. It is the mother of the girls who asks him to tell her his name and inquires about his identity. After he has turned around, he realizes that he is unable to tell them. If he shows his face now, they might remember this incident every time they meet at school or in the neighborhood. He is informed by the officer that he will be required to accompany them to the police station in order to be questioned there. After getting his assent, he exits the building. It is mumbled by the sisters that they are completely unaware of the identity of the person who assisted them. According to the police officer, they have the criminal in their possession. The moment Hayato steps outside the door, he removes the mask that he was wearing. Before getting into the car, he notices the neighbors conversing and wonders what is going on by the sounds of their voices. Because there hasn't been a male in the house since the father passed away, the neighbors are curious about whether or not they were the target of an attack. Hayato is of the opinion that they should focus on taking care of their feelings and providing themselves with adequate rest rather than worrying about who he is. When Hayato arrived at the crime scene on his own, the officer yells at him and asks him what he was thinking. Hayato is then taken to the police station. A deep bow is given by Hayato, who then expresses his regret, admits that he acted irresponsibly, and promises to give it some thought afterwards. Additionally, he states that he would have experienced a terrible feeling if something had occurred to the Shinjo family. The officer makes the observation that it is fortunate that no one sustained serious injuries, but he also states that this does not alter the fact that Hayato is a minor. In light of the fact that Hayato's parents would be uneasy in the event that something unfortunate occurred to him, he advises Hayato to exercise caution. The officer stands up and tells Hayato that that is all for the time being. He also guarantees that he will walk him out of the building. Hayato quickly stands up and expresses his gratitude to the officer. When he finally exits the station, he lets out a sigh of relief. Because it was his first time in a police station, he was extremely anxious about the experience. In the course of the interrogation, he looks at the officer and thinks to himself that he made an effort to answer honestly. Whatever the case may be, he is relieved that the Shinjo family is safe and that they did not find out his name or face. It is possible, in his opinion, that acknowledging their gratitude would be difficult to do. There is no one who has seen his face other than the police, so no one will believe that he was the one who beat up that thief. He is going to completely disassociate himself from what took place, and as a result, he is not going to communicate with them again. A lengthy amount of time was spent on the interrogation, by the way. He is pondering whether or not he ought to go to the convenience store and purchase something to eat. In the conversation, Aina inquires of her mother the number of times she will check to see if the door is locked. Her mother responds by saying that this is the final time and that she is just checking to make sure, but Aina argues that they have already checked more than 3 times. In the event that Aina is experiencing feelings of insecurity, she suggests that they can sleep together. She states that everything is fine. Aina receives a reprimand from her mother, who tells her that there is nothing wrong with being even more cautious. Moreover, she informs her that she is permitted to take the day off from school tomorrow. Aina expresses her gratitude to her, but mentions that they have already made the decision to go with Oni-chan tomorrow. As she watches her youngest daughter disappear into the room, her mother is heard saying that the room in question belongs to her sister. Arisa is asked if she is able to sleep here tonight by her. Arisa says that she looks terrible and asks her what is wrong with her appearance. After climbing onto the bed, Aina lies down there. According to her, it is the area of her body that was touched by the man in question. She wants to rip off every part of her body that was touched by his filthy hands. While lying next to her, Arisa expresses that she experienced the same emotions. Men are creatures that are both repugnant and revolting. She inquires as to why they are forced to endure such unjust circumstances despite the fact that their father is no longer present. Someone finally responded to her call for help after she screamed from the depths of her being for someone to come and save them. Instantaneously, all indications of melancholy vanished, and in their place, a joyful smile appeared on her face as she recalled their savior, the individual who wore the pumpkin mask. Anna claims that she was aware of the fact that he was a male based on his voice and his physique when he covered her with that blanket. However, she did not experience any feelings of disgust. According to Arisa, this is the reason why she wants to return to her normal routine as quickly as possible so that she can locate him. According to Aina, she is also eager for him to see that they are doing well. It is simultaneously stated by both of them that they ought to express gratitude to him for saving them. She has expressed her desire to meet with him once more. Although they are unaware of his name or appearance, she is confident that she will be able to identify his voice and scent. There is no doubt in Aina's mind that he is not very far away from them. Arisa expresses her desire to be with him in her statement. While they are lying there, they join hands and Arisa tells them that he has saved them from a terrible fate, and as a result, they will have to serve him for the rest of their lives. Anna inquires as to whether or not she believes he would acknowledge their gratitude. She continues by saying that the mere thought of it causes her to feel anxious. In the wake of that lengthy conversation, they wished each other a good night. When Kato tells Hayato that he heard about yesterday and asks him if he is feeling okay, Hayato and his friends are casually strolling to school. Kaito brings up the fact that he heard about yesterday. Hayato reassures him that he is not in danger and continues by stating that, given that Hayato possessed it, he ought to have put on his costume and rescued Shinjo's sisters in the same manner as Spider-Man. When Hayato asks what he could do with a toy bat and a pumpkin mask, he mutters something under his breath. Aina inquires as to whether or not he mentioned a pumpkin when all of a sudden, the Shinjo sisters materialize from behind him. Ayato, who is completely bewildered, greets the Shinjo sisters with reluctance, while Kato appears to be in a state of complete and utter rage. Arisa extends a warm greeting to him. The Shinjo sisters are the ones that Kato identifies as being present. In order to get Hayato to stop ignoring him, Kaito puts him in a headlock and gives him a warning. What caused Hayato to get so close to them is a mystery to him. Not only is Sauda staring at him, but he is also pointing out that this is the very first time he has ever witnessed those girls greeting Hayato. Hayato explains that they are neighbors, and that it is customary for them to show courtesy to one another by greeting each other. In order to put him down, Kaito does so. Hayato believes that they would have been better off staying at home today. While Sauda is helping him up, he points out that they have an excessively strong will. It is Hayato's hope that they are not going overboard. Kaito makes a lighthearted statement, stating that the mere sight of their faces this morning is sufficient for him even. Sauda continues by saying that he has a feeling that today is going to be a good day. Hayato overhears a few girls chatting among themselves in the classroom, and one of them mentions that it appears as though there was a robbery at the Shinjo's residence. Another individual claims that the rumor is spreading even within the scientific laboratory. During the time that they are wondering what the robbers were trying to steal, he hears the gossip. In addition, they continue their discussion in the corridor, where they speculate that perhaps a murderer was the one who attacked them. At this point, Hayato believes that things are beginning to spiral out of control. He is aware that the eldest sister, Aina-san, is enrolled in the class that is located next door. As he walks by, he sneaks a peek inside and sees Aina chatting with her classmates in an animated manner. She is telling them that she was terrified and had given up all hope when all of a sudden her savior appeared. It has come to his attention that Aina-san appears overly calm. Her classmates inquire as to whether or not he was affiliated with their school. In light of the fact that they do not know his name or what he looks like, Aina's expression becomes more uncertain as she expresses her uncertainty. Her fellow student makes fun of the fact that it is impossible to locate him. A third person suggests that she should simply date a man who can protect her. After getting her a grin and leaning in closer, Aina declares that she would never go out with any other man besides the one who saved her life. She claims that she is protected by those two members of her family. It is a dramatic statement that she makes to her classmates that she is swooning. Due to the fact that her classmates have informed her that she is very active today, she is beginning to question whether or not Aina was ever robbed. According to a different classmate, she is hoping that Aina will find that special person very soon. Hayato is still the same as he was before, knowing that Aina-san is a girl who is able to maintain her cheerfulness in spite of the challenges she faces. The expressions on their faces from the previous day are still fresh in his mind, and he can't seem to get them out of his head. The interruption of his train of thought is caused by a fellow student who is yelling at him to come and eat dinner. In an effort to make amends, he tells him that he will leave as soon as he has finished putting his books away. Even so, Aina continues to take notice of him. When Kaito begins to speak, Hayato is on the verge of eating his food at the cafeteria. Kaito then begins to observe that the rate at which rumors spread is astounding. Everyone is talking about what happened to the Shinjo sisters, according to Sauda, who agrees with this statement. As Hayato listens to Kaito's statement, he takes a bite out of his food. Kaito is saying that he does not believe they should discuss it when the sisters might be listening. The three of them are perplexed as to the reason why the sisters are seated there. The tension between Kaito and Sauda increases. One of the things that Hayato observes is that the guys are completely overloaded, and even for him, it is difficult to eat. While he is aware that Aina is looking at him, she turns her head in response to Arisa's call for her. With such a fervent gaze, she looked at him. She was simply leaning forward and fixing her posture, according to Hayato, who continues to believe that there is no reason for her to look at him anymore. His thoughts turn to the fact that he should not fool himself, and that the fact that they are sitting next to each other is nothing more than a coincidence. Not that they consider him to be exceptional in any way. In the midst of Aina's statement that it has been a considerable amount of time since she has visited the cafeteria, he chews his food. The fact that there are so many people is something that she remarks on, and she wonders if that person is also present. A smile appears on Arisa's face as she asks, "Where could that person possibly be?" In her statement, she expresses her desire to express her appreciation to him as quickly as possible. The fact that she wants to have his child is evidenced by Aina's declaration that he was truly incredible. She gives him a smirk as she observes him becoming more tense and dropping his bowl. When he stands up and takes his plate, both of the sisters turn their attention to him. Kaito yells at him, saying that he should not leave without him. Not only does Sauda yell at him to wait, but he also promises that he will show up. According to Sauda, he has lost his appetite and claims that he is unable to eat normally because their aura is so close by their body. Kaito expresses his curiosity aloud about the kind of man who could possibly make those girls fall in love with him. It is on purpose that Hayato asserts that he is unable to even conceive of such a person. Arisa sees a courageous individual who stands up and asks her if she could spare him a moment. Turning her attention to him, Arisa instructs Aina to return to class without her presence. Uncomplicatedly, Aina affirms that she will be there to meet her. Arisa can be seen walking calmly next to the guy. It would appear that a challenger has manifested themselves to confess to a young lady who despises men. His self-assurance must be very high. Because he is concerned about Arisa-san, Hayato decides to run away from the situation. He is unsure of the reason for his concern. Although he is aware that it is extremely nosy of him to do so, he is only interested in seeing. He ascends the stairs and conceals himself on the terrace by hiding behind the door. The guy extends an invitation to Arisa to accompany him on a date. He speculates that it is, in fact, a confession, and he is curious about what Arisa will do in response to it. He apologizes and explains that she is already in a relationship with someone else, which is why she is unable to go out with him. As he thinks about the possibility that there was a man who could make Arisa-san say something like that, the man who is standing in front of her blushes and lets out a gasp of amazement. Out loud, the guy wonders who propagated the rumor that Arisa-san has a strong aversion to males. When asked about it, he responds that it could be a tactic to reject them. Someone who is standing behind him reveals to him that he is right. After some time has passed, he turns around and begins to freak out, fully aware that he ought to be by himself. He is instructed to be quiet by Aina, who places her finger on his lips and warns him that those two will notice. Almost immediately, he stops talking, and Aina tells him to be a good boy and to keep his voice down. She provides an answer to the question that was not asked, stating that she was simply curious about the confession, and of course she was already aware of the outcome. Hayato inquires as to whether or not she truly despises males. Despite the fact that Aina claims that she does, her sister is actually in a relationship with someone else. After that, she inquires as to the reason for his presence here. One of the excuses that Hayato comes up with is that he believed it would be extremely inappropriate for him to confess to Arisa-san at this time, considering everything that has occurred to her. After that, he expresses his regret and explains that regardless of how anxious he is, the act of peeping is worse. She expresses her comprehension of the situation and remarking that he is a very kind person. He says that he was still peeping while rubbing the back of his head and rubbing his head. In her argument, Aina states that she believed he was a good person. When they hear the guy say that when he heard about yesterday, he regretted not telling Arisa sooner, he expresses his gratitude to her. As Aina keeps her gaze fixed on him from behind, Hayato resumes his peeping technique. The man yells that from this point forward, he will stand by Aina and protect her, and he will never allow her to be hurt. In his comments, Hayato mentions that it was a good one. It is heard by them that Arisa has stated that he is free to say whatever he wants once the incident has been resolved. In response, the guy says that he wishes to present her with something. Hayato makes the observation that the handsome man is very dedicated to his work. In a yell, Aina inquires about the gift that he intends to give to her sister. She is also interested in seeing it. In spite of the fact that she claims he has no chance of winning, she has stated that she will not forgive him if he gives her something strange. She is instructed by Hayato to calm down. Arisa is informed by the guy that he has written a poem expressly for her, and he instructs her to take it. Aina instructs Hayato to bend over slightly while she is hiding behind the door. He leans against the door while crouching down. The moment she places her hands on his shoulders, she exclaims that it is wonderful that she will be able to see in this manner. She commands him to maintain his stance. The moment he gets a feel for her hands, he jumps up and asks her what she has in mind for the future. Almost without any prior warning, she leaps onto his back. He stutters. She claims that she is able to see more clearly now. With some reluctance, he calls her out. Her hands are wrapped around his neck, and she inquires as to what the matter is. She inquires in a hushed tone whether he is concerned about the thing that is touching him. Within his head, he utters the words, "Ina-san is being far too forthright." She chuckles as she reveals that she had the intention of having a conversation with Hayato. He hesitantly asks her what she wants to talk about with him as she is awkwardly hanging off his back. She shrieks out that if he calls her by her last name, she will be unable to determine whether he is referring to her at all or to her sister. She inquires as to whether or not he is unable to address her by her first name. The next time he addresses her, he calls her Aina and tells her to come to her senses. Through her hanging from his neck, she is preventing him from breathing comfortably. She sulks and then gets off of him while claiming that he is unable to do it. He makes a motion with his head and pleads with her to halt. While she is saying this, she makes a joking statement that she will simply keep an eye on her sister in this manner. Upon sliding down the door, she grabs the front of her sweater and tells him to take it easy with the names. He then continues to slide down the door. After he sneaks up behind her to take a look at the door, he suddenly becomes aware that she had addressed him by his name. Aina has stated that it appears as though the confession is moving toward its conclusion. They witness her older sister tearing off his poetry paper in a cruel and ruthless manner. People who project their own feelings onto others without taking into consideration the feelings of the other person are not ones that she finds appealing, according to her. Then she reverses her direction and walks away. Hayato makes the observation that Arisa appears to be quite forthright. Despite the fact that the boy was very insistent and self-centered, Aina remarks that she was very kind to him. Hayato mutters that he is going to come here, so they ought to conceal themselves. A loud apology is mumbled by the boy as he runs away from the door, tears in his eyes. Hayato is startled and flinches away from Aina as she suddenly looks up at him and whispers how close they are. This causes Hayato to freeze immediately. Additionally, he expresses his regrets in a loud voice. She reassures him that he should not be concerned and reminds him that they were once much closer. He notices that something is about to fall directly on top of her, but he moves just in time to save her from the injury that would have been caused by the fall. When he slowly stands up and inquires as to whether or not she is hurt, and she is looking at him with a solemn expression. It dawns on him that it is incredibly gentle and smells so incredibly pleasant. She trembles in fear whenever he makes the mistake of putting pressure on her while he is attempting to stand up. Her statement to him is that he is more courageous than she is. Suddenly, he grabs her and yells that it was not intentional, it was an accident. He said that it was an accident. A pause is followed by her grabbing his hand on her shoulder. Her gleeful declaration that there is no question about it, it was this very same hand, is followed by a burst of laughter from her. As she begins to apologize, he immediately begins to tense up, saying that this came out of nowhere and laughing as if it were strange. He examines the hand that she was holding just a moment ago and is perplexed as to what on earth she could possibly be holding. In the process of turning around, she announces that she must return to the classroom and remarks that time passes by in a very short amount of time. Once more, he makes an effort to apologize, but she turns around and tells him not to do it anymore while smiling. She also suggests that the next time they talk, they should take their time. Fearfully, Hayato ponders whether or not there will be a subsequent opportunity for him. In spite of the fact that she may have laughed, he believes that she is most likely upset with him. As he makes his way down the stairs, he screams about the things that he has done. Upon arriving at the Shinja residence, Aina informs her sister that she will be entering the house. When she sees her older sister doing exactly that, she goes into her room and tells her that it is not good for her health to rest her head on her hand. She does this because she is very concerned about her health. Arisa makes a motion with her head and sits up straight at her desk, stating that she is aware of the situation, but she is unable to move her thoughts away from that individual. After giving her a hug from behind, Aina tells her that she understands how she is feeling, but that she does not have to sigh in such a manner. Arisa assures her that she understands, but she states that she is unable to stop missing him. The moment he rescued her, it was inevitable that she would fall in love with him. Ever since that time, it was inevitable. As people say, Aina makes the observation that nobody knows what the future holds. After releasing herself from her sister's hold, Arisa asserts that what she has said is accurate. This is the reason why she desires to meet him, express her gratitude to him, and repay him with the entirety of her being. As far as she is concerned, she desires to be his slave. As she continues to tell him that she wants to give him her heart, body, and soul, she turns her body as if she were speaking to him directly. Arisa's hand is extended, and Aina grabs it. She then tells Arisa that their emotions are completely identical. Arisa heaves a sigh and declares that she has come too far. Even when Aina is present with her, she is unable to control her thoughts from returning to him. When Aina sees her in that state, she can't help but wonder aloud what her classmates would say about her. Arisa warns her in a sarcastic tone not to say that because the mere thought of what took place today makes her feel sick to her stomach. In a lighthearted manner, Aina admits that it was her fault. It is brought to Arisa's attention that there are boys who also confess to Aina on a regular basis. However, she states that Aina is unable to tolerate even the slightest touch from them. She is under the impression that Aina is going through more than she is. A momentary pause is followed by Aina's uncontrollable trembling. Arista is informed by her that she is correct. Arisa examines her facial expression and inquires as to what the matter is. Aina straightens up and tells her sister that she is fatigued and that she will go to sleep. She then wishes her sister a good night and goes to sleep. Aina is told by Arisa that she is not forcing her to do it, but that she should at least learn the names of the boys in her class. Prior to shutting the door, Aina promises that she will give it a shot. She goes to her room and leans against the door that is closed, her entire body trembling throughout the entire process. While she is pondering what she ought to do, she places her hand over her heart as if doing so would calm the heart that is beating exceptionally loudly. It is a secret that she has concealed from her sister regarding that individual. She removes the buttons from her shirt and explains that she is aware that it is not appropriate, but for the time being, it is necessary for it to be that way. While she is sitting on her bed, she is thinking that the fact that her sister is next door does not relieve the fever that she is experiencing. After that, she gives herself a treat while thinking about Hayato. The statement that Shinjo had emerged from the men's restroom is brought to Arisa's attention by a few onlookers. Someone else inquires about the goings-on. At that moment, she becomes aware of her sister and Hayato standing in close proximity to one another among the crowd. She charges forward while yelling at some individuals to move aside and make room for her. As soon as Hayato spots her, he takes a momentary pause. When Arisa calls out to her sister, she inquires as to why she is surrounded by boys and inquires as to whether or not she is okay. As she moves in front of Aina, she gives Hayato a glare and tells him not to get any closer to her. She also tells him that she will not forgive him if anything happens to Aina. He asserts that this can be attributed to a misunderstanding and that he has not performed any actions. She glares at him and asks, in that case, was he planning on doing something? In response to this statement, when he tries to explain that it is not like that, he begins to sweat and says that they were just having a conversation. Her question to Aina is, who is he? Aina, on the other hand, gives her sister a dreamy look and apologizes to her from the bottom of her heart. Due to the fact that she was the first person to discover him, she believes that she will be able to keep him for herself for a short period of time. His response, which is questionable, is that they are friends. In order to prevent her sister from continuing to harass him, Aina sneaks a peek behind Arisa and reveals that the two of them were merely having a conversation previously. She expresses her regret for the fact that she may have caused her concern and then suggests that they return to the classroom. Arisa whirls around and mutters that she must always be on guard when she is in the presence of men. As she turns, Aina gives him a wink and makes a promise that she will see him the next time. The display made him, along with a large number of other onlookers, flush. Arisa appears to be incensed by the name that her sister gave to the individual. Aina is questioned about the reason why she just now referred to him by his name. She is affirmed by Aina, who also reveals that she is the one who instructed her to make an effort to learn the names of the boys. Arisa has a sneaking suspicion that Aina is conspiring to conceal something. They are instructed by the teacher to remember to take a 15-minute stretch break after they have completed a run during physical education class. Despite the fact that Arisa turns to Aina and tells her to stretch together, she notices that Aina is walking in the opposite direction. She chases after her, wondering if she managed to miss her in the first place. It is a mystery to her that Aina is leaving the classroom without even uttering a single word to her, and she wonders where she is going. Regarding Aina's thoughts, she is completely clueless. In spite of the fact that such occurrences have not occurred up until this point, she continues to pursue her, thinking that she has seen Aina supporting Hayato's head while he is sleeping beneath a tree. It dawns on her that Aina is holding a man in her lap, and the expression on her face is so unusual that she can't help but wonder what on earth has just taken place. Excusing himself, he inquires as to what she is doing. With a groan, she inquires as to the reason he stood up and what he was doing. He rubbed his head and explained that he had been looking for a place to rest because he had stayed up late. He believed that it would be okay for him to come here, but she happened to find him. Aina responds by saying that it is the intuition of a woman. Hayato opens her mouth to ask aloud whether it is acceptable for her to be apart from her sister. As Aina frowns, she inquires as to whether or not he enjoys conversing with her. When Arisa hears this, she becomes more tense. It is not true at all, according to him. There is not a single young man who would be unhappy to have a conversation with her. The only thing that Aina wants is for him to be content, she says. Aina and Arisa are standing together after school when Aina mutters that she, too, is feeling a little tired today and that she has been working hard all day. Arisa is also a little tired. She is reminded by Arisa that she must not forget to go shopping on the way back home. As far as Aina is concerned, she will not forget. She will get it over with as soon as possible so that she can take a bath. Arisa reveals to her that it has been a considerable amount of time and invites her to take a bath with her. She suggests that they use a bath bomb. A shout comes from Kato, announcing that the Shinjo sisters are on their way home. According to Kato, it appears that Hayato has been conversing with Aina in the restrooms reserved for men today. Even though they have not communicated with each other, Hayato, who is standing behind him, pauses and says that he is concerned about not knowing what she is thinking. Sauda acknowledges that Hayato has undergone a complete transformation. Hayato, on the other hand, asserts that he has not changed because he is still completely clueless about what goes through the minds of women. The next day at the Halloween party, Kaito makes the decision that they will be able to hear the details, and then he walks away. It appears that Hayato is continuing to observe the sisters through the window of the classroom. Arisa is aware that the reason for Aina's change is without a doubt due to that man, despite the fact that he believes that his daily routine has changed a little bit, despite the fact that it was certainly the case. For some reason, Hayato is oblivious to her glare. It is her decision that her older sister will be the one to rescue Aina from that anguish. Kaito comments that Hayato certainly looks the part despite not having any skills. It is then that he notices Hayato wielding the sword while wearing his pumpkin mask. In reference to the stance, Hayato reveals that he was a kendo practitioner in the past. He then turns on the lights. He claims that it appeared to be quite unattractive in this dreadful costume. Kaito makes the observation that it would have been preferable if he had worn something that was more akin to a swordsman. In this year's Halloween celebration, the party will be held at Sauda's residence. On the other hand, the party is only for the purpose of dressing up and eating a meal. In his statement, Hayato asserts that Kaito is incorrect and that it is only they who gave it their all. The assertion that Kaito makes is that because he is a vampire, he is able to bite the necks of girls whenever he pleases. According to Sauda, he has such a lack of morality in his intentions. On the other hand, Sauda confidently asserts that Halloween is the most ideal occasion for people to dress up in costumes. In spite of the fact that they are at home, Hayato asks whether or not it is truly necessary for them to go to such lengths. He tells him that the most important thing is Auntie's cooking, and that anything else is fine with him. The best and most delicious food is that which is prepared at home. Kaido makes the observation that he is extremely complimentary in his statements. The mother of Sauda comes forward and tells him that her son does not clean his plate or say things like the food is delicious. According to him, there is no point in uttering things that are not necessary. In spite of this, she continues to assure Hayato that she will get him an extra large portion specifically for that. Hayato expresses his gratitude to her in a loud voice and promises to consume as much food as he possibly can. Before Sauda can finish his sentence, she gives him a slap on the head and tells him that he ought to be more grateful to his parents. Sauda attempts to say that it is an exaggeration to call that a big meal, but she stops him before he can finish his sentence. While chewing his food and thinking back on the good old days, Hayato can't help but smile at the scene. His advice to Sauda is to not be timid and to show his appreciation whenever he has the opportunity. After a moment of silence, Sauda expresses his gratitude to his mother for consistently preparing delicious meals. His mother is overjoyed to have him join them. After that, she recalls that Hayato was involved in a potentially hazardous situation not too long ago, and she assures him that he can always talk to her about anything that is bothering him about his life. He expresses his gratitude to her and mentions that he was informed that he could rely on his grandparents in the event that it became necessary. In addition to this, he is disrupted when Sauda hits him with his stick. He is advised by Kaido not to do that, rather he should consult with his close friends regarding the matter. Sauda continues by saying that seeing as how they are friends, there is no reason to be timid. Laughing, Hayato looks at them and nods his head in agreement. After they finish eating, Kaido suggests that they play Twister. Following that, they engage in a variety of other games and have a good time. Having a full stomach while playing Twister is a terrible experience, according to Hayato. To get back to his house, he is walking with his bag. Even though he believes that the time passed quickly, he would still like to do it again if given the chance. In spite of the fact that he does not have a curfew, he does not feel like doing anything anymore. He believes that in the past, he frequently disobeyed his mother's curfew. As a result, he received a lot of reprimands. During the late hours of the night, he recalls knocking on the door. As soon as she opens the door, his mother yells at him in a furious manner when she tells him that he has finally made the decision to return. During the game, he appears to have lost track of time, and he expresses his regrets. When his mother yells at him to stop making up excuses, she asks him how many times this has happened by this point. He trembles in fear as a result of being yelled at, but moments later, his mother wraps her hand around him while his father peeks out from behind the door. He reports that Hayato has arrived at his residence. He claims that he will be able to get a later curfew when he is older, but for the time being, he is required to make a commitment to adhere to the curfew. Likewise, Hayato expresses her regret to him. In the event that he fails to keep his promise, his mother has warned him that she will reprimand him no matter how many times it takes. After returning from the flashback, he is under the impression that he did, in fact, make a promise to respect the curfew. However, he is under the impression that this mask is simply making fun of him. It is the pumpkin mask that he wore earlier that he is staring at. Suddenly, he becomes aware that he is surrounded by children who are dressed up for Halloween. He puts on the mask and makes the decision to take a little more time to enjoy Halloween before he returns. During the festival, he can be seen wandering around in his costume. Aina, on the other hand, grumbles and asks Arisa why they are at the hardware store when she claims that the entire town is celebrating Halloween. Arisa can't understand why they are there. Arisa believes that carrying a knife around is dangerous unless the person is able to convince themselves that they are acting in self-defense and that they are not going to overdo it. Arisa turns around to face her and murmurs in a sarcastic manner that they came here to locate a device that could be used to drive away the bad guys. She continues by stating that there are bad guys who are aiming for her after all, after she has received Aina's confusion. She envisions herself assaulting Hayato and then hanging him while he is wrapped in a sack. She is of the opinion that he will have the opportunity to learn firsthand what it is like to mess with Aina, and she believes that she ought to seize him and not let him go until he makes a solemn vow that he will never again be involved with Aina. She gives him a mental warning that Hayato should get himself ready right away. Aina utters the words, "This shopping is becoming increasingly tedious." She reaches out and takes Arisa's hands, but Arisa tells her to wait, stating that she has not yet completed the preparations. Because it is Halloween today, Aina tells her that they can do it at a later time since it is Halloween. When they leave the store, Arisa observes that there are a great number of pumpkins in its inventory. She takes a pumpkin in her hand and proceeds to examine it, remarking that she is curious about the degree of good fortune that would be required for that particular individual to be selected from among all of these pumpkins. In her memory, she recalls him standing in front of her to shield her from harm. Anna brings up the fact that she is thinking about that individual once more. After turning around, Arisa suggests that they do not discuss the matter. She suggests that they should talk about this Hayato instead of anything else. Anna screams out in response to that, and Arisa clenches her teeth and says that she knew it based on the reaction she received. In her assertion, she asserts that Hayato is exerting control over Aina. Aina inquires as to whether or not she has become aware of the fact that Hayato is exerting control over her heart. According to Arisa, her older sister is able to see through everything. In her statement, she emphasizes that she will shield her from Hayato. Aina inquires as to whether or not she is aware of the truth concerning Hayato. The response that Arisa gives is that she is aware of the situation, and she goes on to say that she will not allow Hayato to get any closer to her. Although Aina is aware that it is not appropriate for her to make such a statement, she continues to assert that her possessiveness is excessively strong. In her words, Arisa describes this as genuine affection. In the event that it is affection, Aina asserts that she will not be defeated. During this time, she asks her what her thoughts are on Hayato while fidgeting with her fingers. Arisa makes it abundantly clear that he is a filthy piece of trash that has defiled Aina, which is an existence that cannot be forgiven. Aina stares at her in a stunned manner. Arisa inquires in a naive manner as to whether or not she has made any peculiar statements. After Aina has exclaimed that it is, of course, strange, after all, Hayato is the one, she is interrupted by Hayato, who suddenly appears out of nowhere and inquires as to whether or not someone has mentioned his name. Both of the girls, as well as a child who is nearby, pause to look at him. The way Arisa sees it, they are joking around. In a state of utter disbelief, she believes that it is impossible to forget that costume. This time, she recalls, is exactly the same as the previous one. Aina directs her gaze intently toward her sister. It has been stated by the child that it is Pumpkin Man. Hayato utters a curse and makes the decision that he had better leave that place as soon as possible. When Arisa hears Aina make the statement that it is destined for them to meet in a location such as this, her head begins to spin. She follows him and tells him to stop running and wait before she continues on her way. Taking the sword that had slipped out of his grasp, she seizes it. As far as she is concerned, he dropped something. In a yell, she asserts that she did not come to pursue him. It is Aina who notices her sister pursuing Hayato, who is wearing a mask. It dawns on her that her sister has forgotten that Hayato was the one in question. It was such a brief moment that she had the opportunity to have him all to herself, but now that it has come to this, it is impossible to avoid it. She thinks about this as she looks up at the sky. Suddenly, she leaps in front of him and approaches him. Arisa asserts that it is a pin move and compliments Aina on the effort that she has put forth. When she pounces on him from behind, she places him in the middle of the two of them. Aina expresses her gratitude to her and then informs the individual that he will not be able to escape at this time. The struggle continues for Hayato, who claims that he does not know them and inquires as to whether or not they are certain that he is not the wrong guy. Arisa asserts that there is no denying the fact that he is the most important person in her life. She recommends that they relocate to a location where they can meet and talk. At some point, they are seated on a park bench, and they are getting too close to one another. Even though both of the girls are glued to either of his sides, he is sitting in the middle of the group. He is perplexed as to how he could possibly communicate in this circumstance. Despite her reluctance, Arisa admits that she has always desired to meet him. Even though he has been trying to hide his identity, he believes that in the end, it has come to this. She breaks down in tears and expresses her gratitude to him for that particular moment. She is overjoyed to be able to express her gratitude to him for it. When Aina sees him trembling with a smile on his face, she tells him that he was only acting in a natural manner. According to Arisa, the only reason it was even possible was because it was him. She takes his hands in hers and asks him to please tell her his name, if it is not too much trouble for him. She does this if it is agreeable to him. During the moment that he is hesitantly lying that it is Jack, Aina places both of her hands on his shoulder and leans in close to him. She bursts out laughing, and during that time, her sister's eyes are filled with affection for him. His name, according to her, is absolutely wonderful. She inquires as to whether he is from a foreign country, and he responds that he is from the United States of America. She raises the question of what kind of woman he prefers to be with. He asserts that he is a trustworthy and well-mannered individual. In response to her inquiry about his residence, he continues to deceive her by claiming that he resides in an apartment in Minato City. At long last, Aina erupts into a fit of laughter and tells him that Jack is making himself too obvious. The question that Arisa asks her with great intensity is, what is the meaning of this? And why did she say Hayato's name? It is her assertion that Jack is the polar opposite of Hayato, and that he is the one who has saved her life. In addition, she states that Hayato is a nefarious individual who deceived her. Despite the fact that she is clenching her hair, she asserts that the mere thought of a man who resembles trash living in their neighborhood is enough to irritate her. Arisa is greeted with an apology from Hayato as he slowly removes his mask. Almost instantly, Aina gives him a hug, claiming that she was aware that it was Hayato. Arisa is in a terrible state of mind about the fact that if Jack is Hayato, then she has just said some things to her savior that cannot be forgiven. Once more, he expresses his regret for the fact that he had an unintentional impact on her anger. She is afraid that she will never be able to make up for it, even if it takes her entire life to do so. Even if he were to forgive her, she would not be able to forgive him. As she offers him a sincere apology, she falls to her knees in shame. She apologizes not only for not returning the favor, but also for saying such terrible things. She says that she is sorry for both of these things. He asserts that she is going to the extreme of this situation. She makes a request to him to take her as his slave and to allow her to devote not only her body but also her heart and soul to him. Arisa thinks he was the one who saved her from despair, and it was at that instant that she fell for him. She imagines him standing in front of her with his sword and the pumpkin mask, while she is dressed in the same clothes that she was wearing when she was assaulted. Her eyes well up with tears as she contemplates the fact that she would fulfill his every wish, whatever it may be. Since everything has been resolved, Arisa begs him to grant her permission to devote everything to Hayato from this point forward. As he scrambles, he reiterates that she referred to him as Mr. Hayato and that she mentioned something about a slave. He exclaims that it is somewhat embarrassing to say such things in such a sudden manner. She offers her apologies for making him feel embarrassed, but she also expresses her desire to repay him for his kindness. After that, she utters in a frantic manner that just a moment ago, he was a little bit angry with her. After that, she makes a gigantic bow and apologizes multiple times. "What is going on with this right now?" he exclaims. She breaks down in tears and explains that she not only addressed him in an inappropriate manner, but she also insulted him because of a misunderstanding at the time. It is now clear to him that there was a misunderstanding. According to Aina, this is the reason why her older sister spoke in such a manner. Despite Arisa's tears, Hayato simply smiles and tells her in a calm manner that he does not have any requirements of this kind. Arisa claims that she will spend the rest of her life making amends for it. He continues by saying that he was even sneaking a peek at the confession earlier, which means that he is not in a position to be grateful to her. In addition to crying even more, she asserts that this is not the case. Aina and she both rely on him even more, leaving no room for any other support. She continues by stating that on that particular occasion, she inquired of him what would have transpired in the event that he had not arrived. She suggests that it is possible that they would not be present at this moment. Instead of paying attention to what she is saying, Hayato is struggling, thinking that this is too much for him to handle and that he is unable to move at all. She tells him that now that they are friends, they should stop using honorifics, but she does not perceive the struggle that he is experiencing. Additionally, Aina yells at him and asks him to refrain from using any honorifics when he is speaking to her. Hayato believes that he is unable to truly refuse the request of two individuals who are pleading with him to refrain from using any honorifics because they are begging for it. As he blushes and nods his head in agreement, he informs Arisa and Aina that he will be under their care from this point forward. The expressions that they both give him are off-putting. In a peculiar manner, both of the girls shiver, and Aina declares that her heart is beating too quickly. He asks the two of them why they had such a reaction, and he looks at both of them from opposite sides of him. While she is saying that she will get dirty if she does not hurry up and go home, Aina can be seen looking down and shaking her head. Arisa is in agreement, stating that change of clothes is necessary for her. He gets up and suggests that they take the same route home, and he inquires as to whether or not it would be acceptable for them to travel together. It is, according to Arisa, a given that it is. When Ana hears Hayato say that, she exclaims that she was expecting it. Arisa reiterates that she would like him to refrain from using any honorifics if it is at all possible, and she also wonders aloud if he could avoid speaking in a manner that is polite. In spite of the fact that he is looking away, he agrees and says that he understands. As he walks the girls back to their house, he assures them that he will see them at school the following day. In a delirious manner, Arisa repeats Hayato's name over and over again while she is lying next to the bed. The fact that she did not notice that he was living nearby is a mystery to her. She is cursing herself as she wraps her hands around herself and mutters to herself that she wants him to hurry up. She is expressing her desire to be treated as if she were an object. During the course of their conversation, she expresses her desire to be a tool for him to use for the rest of his life, because she believes that this is the only way she can truly express her gratitude to him. She utters that she will pay attention to whatever he has to say, and she then begs him to give her an order. As she sobs, she explains that the mere thought of his gaze, voice, and smell causes her entire body to race. Since she is such a disgraceful woman, she expresses her regret. She lets out a scream before finally calming down and expressing her excitement about the prospect of reconnecting with him the following day. While Hayato is at home, he has another dream in which he is being drawn into the ocean by his two sisters. Arisa continues further and further into the depths of their love, while Ana tells him to drown in their love. When he is sleeping, his head continues to spin. He recalls that it was a dream associated with that period of time. Whether it was the Shinjo sisters or not, he is curious. He leans against the wall on the way to school, thinking that he does not feel like he has rested well at all. He is thinking this as he is walking. The Shinjo sisters are standing behind him, greeting him and wishing him a good morning as he turns around. In the moment that she is about to utter an honorific, Arisa quickly corrects herself. The idea of going to school together is raised by Ana. This is so dreamy, Hayato thinks to himself as he has to pinch himself and wonders aloud if he is still dreaming. I need to pinch myself. Ana reassures him that he does not need to be concerned and that everything will be fine as long as they go to a location that will not draw attention to themselves. If he were to be with them, Arisa believes that he would be noticed by everyone. As he places his hand on his chest, he believes that this is appropriate. However, at this hour of the morning, it is excessive for a teenager to be doing such a thing. Arisa inquires as to whether or not he has any inquiries for them. Considering that they had a plethora of questions to ask the day before, she says that she was thinking about it. Suddenly, Ana appears out of nowhere and says that it is acceptable to inquire about their measurements as well. At that, he comes dangerously close to spitting. When Ana is asked, "What are you saying so suddenly?" he asks her. Ana takes it in stride and asks him if he is interested in knowing. At that moment, Arisa suddenly takes a serious tone and inquires as to whether or not he is interested in knowing the answer. The order to speak up comes from her. He asserts that it is a criminal offense to ask such a question with such a solemn expression, and he humbly begs to be informed about his desire to know for himself. She responds with a gleeful smile that the numbers 88, 57, and 90 go from the top down. When she responds to that question so abruptly, he exclaims. He tells her not to respond to that in such a careless manner by placing his hand on his mouth and making a shushing motion for it. He is the only person to whom she would say it, according to her statement. She turns around and mutters with a smile that she has realized, more importantly, that he included some anger when he just casually addressed her. She is surprised by this realization. Ana mutters to herself that her older sister is already acting in that manner. After that, she changes her attention to Hayato and informs him that she is more powerful than her sister. When asked about it, he responds in a sarcastic manner. Did he not say that it is too early in the morning for this? She then inquires as to whether or not they should meet at her residence in the evening. Arisa retorts that it is accurate and mentions that their mother had mentioned that she also desired to convey her appreciation toward them. Arisa has informed them that, due to the fact that the school is closed, they will be leaving at this time. He is instructed by Ana to make sure that he arrives at their location. After she told them that they would make him feel welcome, both of the sisters turned around and left the room. In an awkward manner, he waves them off and murmurs that the two of them are like a storm during their parting. Hayato puts his head on the desk as Sauda asks him what is up and wonders if he has enough energy to eat lunch. He stands up and declares that he believes he will be able to handle the situation. He is aware that those sisters will seize any opportunity to strengthen their relationship with him. In the past, he has had the girls sneak up on him, and he remembers those experiences. He is completely perplexed as to why they came to such a close proximity. Kaido asks him in a serious manner how he was able to have such a high level of popularity with those two girls. After that, he loses his composure and asks Sauda what the day will be like. While maintaining his composure, Sauda murmurs that he is in the mood for some ramen. Kaido asserts that he causes him concern and inquires as to whether or not he does not wish to take pleasure in his youth. The fact that it has been half a year since they started high school is something that he yells out. The question that he raises is whether or not it is acceptable to not have a single romantic story to discuss. A yell comes from him, and he asks if he does not want a girlfriend. He is told by Kato, who is running around, that it is not something that should be done in a hurry. In addition, he claims that it is highly unlikely that they would be able to get together and make a racket during the party that took place the day before. He goes on to say that ever since he entered, he has never experienced a moment of loneliness, even if it is just them. Despite this, Kaido yells that all he wants is to be able to share the bittersweet experience of being in school with a girlfriend. In a nutshell, both of his friends have arrived at the conclusion that Kaido has found someone. He declares that he desires to live a life that is both bitter and sweet. Nevertheless, he asserts that he has not yet made up his mind about a particular person. Sauda makes a remark that he believes Kaido is carrying out the tasks in the incorrect order. Kaido has expressed his belief that it is essential to visualize various scenarios. He tells them to just try to picture how happy they would be if they had someone standing next to them. The memory of Hayato's parents comes to him instantly. He is in agreement with what Kaido has stated, which is that it is very nice to have someone by your side at all times. Both of his associates are looking at him. By claiming that he has ruined the atmosphere, he makes an effort to lighten the mood. He urges his companions to hurry up and secure some food for lunch. At this very moment, Kaido continues to express his desire to be able to visit the cafeteria with a girlfriend like this. Hayato provides him with the assurance that his dream will one day be realized. Arina is confronted by a second boy who confesses to her, but she simply indicates that she is not interested in him. During the time that he is expressing his admiration for her and stating that she is the perfect match for him, she gives him a bored look and looks away. He claims that there is no other woman who is more stunning than she is, and he begs her to give him a chance to win her heart. Again and again, she states that she is not interested. Instead of giving up just yet, he turns around and yells that this is not a sufficient reason to do so. The door is slammed open, and he walks out of the room. Arisa wonders to Aina if she experienced the same feelings when she was asked out on a date. While she is on her way to hug her, Aina tells her that she has just received compliments on her appearance. As far as she is concerned, it was a nightmare. Her tears indicate that she does not wish to communicate with anyone other than Hayato. They are all garbage, according to her assertions. Aina expresses her desire for Hayato to alleviate her discomfort, but she is unable to do so because she is needed at school. Aina inquires as they make their way down the stairs as she wonders why she failed to inquire about his contact information the day before. Arisa suggests that it was most likely due to the fact that they bombarded him with questions throughout the entire episode. However, Aina smiles and inquires as to whether or not she does not wish for Hayato to learn more about them as well. Arisa believes that she does, and it would be a pleasant experience to experience the distance between them narrowing. The invitation is left for her to accept, as Arisa instructs her. Aina becomes more enthusiastic and expresses her desire to share her measurements with him as well. When Arina suddenly falls to the ground, she is shaking violently. It is allowed that she wonders if this is adequate. It occurs to her that perhaps she ought to switch her attire. As soon as she sees her sister, Aina immediately gets down on her knees and tells her to gather herself together. As far as Hayato is concerned, there is no question about it. Shinjo-san extended an invitation to him without any prior notice. Hayato quickly removes the invitation card from Kaido's grasp by waving it away from him. Kaido immediately strikes out to take the card from his locker. To add insult to injury, he claims that the letter was placed in the shoe cabinet in such an antiquated manner, which he finds peculiar. He mutters that if it weren't for them, he would never have the courage to bring himself to a place that is so fashionable by himself. He is approached by a maid who inquires as to whether or not he is alone at the moment. His statement is that he is going to meet someone. From the location where she was sitting with Arisa, who was enjoying a sundae, Aina calls out to him to come over. Both of them gave him a friendly smile. When he was invited over by two different people, He grumbled that he couldn't really ignore it then. With a chuckle, Aina continues by stating that she took advantage of his generosity. First things first, she tells him that she will show him the menu, and then she will inquire about what they ought to request. In the process of picking up the menu, he remarks that the only people present in this establishment are females, and he wonders if he is standing out like a sore thumb. While Aina is expressing that Hayato is experiencing feelings of embarrassment, both of the girls in front of him smile. Arisa mutters that he is unbelievably adorable. He gives the maid a call and tells her that he will need a cup of coffee. Arisa can be seen staring at him as Aina continues to say that this store carries a very sophisticated selection of clothing. She claims that she goes here with her friends quite frequently. Aina claims that her older sister here has a soft spot for sweet things, which is a significant departure from her own preferences. Because Arisa claims that Aina enjoys spicy food, she asserts that if he were to date her, he would be putting his life in danger. That comes as a surprise to Hayato, who says that the two of them have completely different preferences. As a result of the fact that he does not know a great deal about them, they were kind enough to invite him here today so that he could learn more about them. In the first place, she explains the reason why they despise men. When she tells him that they were touched by a teacher when they were in elementary school, he takes a deep breath after they have finished their drinks. This, according to him, is a criminal act. The statement made by Arisa is that they used to be noticeable, and she speculates that they still are. According to Aina, the situation did not change at all even after she moved on to high school. The sisters who despise men came into existence as a consequence of the accumulation of these adverse experiences. With the exception of Hayato's name, Aina claims that she has not bothered to remember the names of any other boys. Arisa asserts that it is nearly impossible to rid themselves of the hatred they have harbored for men throughout their entire lives when it has progressed to this point. In spite of the fact that he is a male, he asserts that other people are saying this. They claim that he is unique in some way. In her explanation, Arisa says that the moment she met him, everything changed. In continuation, Aina advises him to trade phone numbers with him so that they can grow even closer to one another. After having such a conversation, he inquires as to whether or not that is acceptable. Arisa becomes adamant and demands that he hand it over to her, stating that she is certain. Immediately following the conversation, she mumbles that she has obtained his phone number and that she will be able to get in touch with him at any time. She stands up and announces that she has nothing more to do but go to the ladies' room. At the same time that her sister is warning her not to follow her with her eyes like that, Aina is also wearing a dreamy expression on her face. Arisa quickly shuts the door and leans against it. Aina inquires about Hayato. It might be a little late now, but why did you come to help us that time without hesitation? The maid who is standing close to the door of the restroom flushes slightly, perplexed as to what the noise was. The response that Hayato gives is that he would normally wait quietly for the police, but the thought of what would have occurred if they had not arrived in time caused his body to behave in a way that was not appropriate. Putting on the pumpkin mask, he dashed into the room. He expresses his happiness that she is doing well and is safe. When she hears this, Aina's entire body begins to shake. Her stomach is clenched securely. He inquires as to whether or not she is okay. She acknowledges that she is, but she is unable to tolerate it. Arisa emerges from the stall at precisely the right time, and Aina announces that it is now its turn for her to speak. Hayato inquires as to whether or not she is experiencing any pain. Arisa reassures him that she is doing well and tells him not to be concerned about her. At the sound, the maid's blushes return once more. According to Hayato, the toilet has been fairly noisy for a considerable amount of time now. What is going on? He is curious about. Arisa inquires of Hayato whether he has made a decision regarding a dream or a career path. According to him, he has not yet made a decision about anything or anyone. As Arisa puts it, her dream is to be of assistance to others. In order to keep a watchful eye on the person she is with, she desires to be by their side for all of eternity. It is her desire to be a part of that individual. When she inquires about his thoughts on this dream, she makes the observation that it is unsettling. Hayato has come to the conclusion that Arisa, to put it another way, desires to be a wife. A wonderful dream, he exclaims, is what he is experiencing right now. She blushes in an awkward manner, then stands up and wonders out loud that Aina has not yet returned. She then inquires as to whether or not she might be in trouble once more. With the assumption that they should be heading home, he begins to sweat outside of the cafe. He is instructed to hold on by Aina. According to her, she has received a message. During their trip home, she reveals to Arisa that their mother had requested that they go shopping. The realization that this means she cannot go home with Hayato causes Arisa to shake with fear. She tells her not to be disheartened by the situation because Aina wants to go home with him as well. He is given a hug by Aina, who then explains that it is unfortunate that they will have to part ways from this location. Arisa comes forward and expresses her regret, requesting that Aina give her a moment of her own time to be a little bit selfish. According to her, Aina has been stealing Hayato for herself, and now is her turn to have Hayato all to herself.